everybody, so our story this week is the Christmas story, the start of the Christmas story. It's going to be in 2 parts and I'm telling the first part this week. And it starts off with the story of a young girl called Mary. Mary would have been maybe in her early teens, mid-teens, very young, definitely before the age of 20 anyway. And she was engaged to be married to a man called Joseph, and he was a carpenter. And one day Mary was sitting by herself and she was visited by the angel Gabriel. And the angel told her that she would get pregnant before she married Joseph, and that she would have a baby boy and that he was to be called Jesus. Now Mary was really troubled about this because she couldn't understand how this was going to happen. But the angel told her not to be afraid, that the baby that she would give birth to was actually going to be the Son of God, and that he was coming to be the Saviour of the world. Well, imagine, Mary just didn't know what to think, didn't know how this was all going to happen. But the angel had told her not to be afraid about any of this. So she sat and thought about it all and thought, my goodness, what an amazing thing to be asked to do. So as time went on, Mary indeed became pregnant and married Joseph. He promised to stay by her because he too realised that this was a very special thing that he and Mary were being asked to do, to look after the Son of God, bring him up in their home. So it came very close to the time that the baby was due to be born, and the emperor had decided that everybody must come to their town that they were born in for what was called a census, and that was to count everybody. They all had to be accountable. So Mary and Joseph had to travel to a place called Bethlehem from where they were living, which was in Nazareth. And you can imagine it was about 70 miles away, so it was quite a long journey. It wasn't a matter of jumping into the car and just driving there in about an hour. They probably came on a donkey, maybe Mary on the donkey, and Joseph had to walk. So it probably took about maybe 3 days to get there. So off they went anyway because they had to be part of this census. And when they arrived, obviously it was very, very hard to find anywhere to stay because everybody was in Bethlehem. All the people who had been born there had to come and take part in the census to be counted. So there wasn't anywhere. Everywhere they went, to all the inns, knocked on the door and asked, nowhere for them to stay. And it was getting so close to the time for the baby Jesus to be born, and they were panicking so much. And one of the places that they did try, the innkeeper said, I'm sorry, I haven't got any room. All I have is a stable, and the animals are there, and that's all I can offer you. And they took it because otherwise they didn't have anywhere to stay. So that's where they decided to stay for the night. And during the night, the baby was born, and they wrapped him up in what was called, you will hear people saying, they wrapped him up in swaddling bands. And that's what a lot of people are doing nowadays with their babies, and it's just keeping the wee baby's legs and arms straight and wrapping them up in lots of blankets just to keep them nice and warm and snuggly, and to keep them from moving about in the night, and it helps them to sleep well. And they put him into a manger. Now that could have been a little basket that maybe was used for food to feed the animals, or it could have been a little niche caved into or carved into the wall to put food for the animals. But anyway, that's the only place they had to put the baby Jesus. And here he was, the Son of God had come into the world. And that's where my story finishes today. Next week, Louise will be finishing the story off. But for this week, I want you to remember about this young girl and everything that she had to think about. And what a big, big thing that was for her to be doing. To be giving birth to the Son of God. And he had been talked about, in the Old Testament. So Mary would have known about all these things before. But I bet she never ever thought that she was going to be the one that was going to take part in this story hundreds and hundreds of years later. Because in the book of Isaiah it talks about the Son of God coming, and he would save the world and he would be our Redeemer. So a lot of people were waiting for this event to happen. And when the angel came and told Mary, I'm sure she just couldn't believe that it was going to be her. So anyway, have a lovely week everybody, and enjoy whatever you're getting up to in the run up to Christmas. But never forget that the most important thing about the whole Christmas season is the fact that we are celebrating the birth of Jesus. So have a lovely week everyone, and a Merry Christmas. Bye bye.
So in our story today we looked at Mary being visited by the angel. So I thought we can make an angel, but actually put it on a Christmas card so that you can give it to somebody that maybe means something to you, just to tell them what Christmas is actually about. Because we get lots of Christmas cards with Rudolph or Christmas presents or a Christmas tree, and all that is lovely. But sometimes people don't actually realise the real true meaning of Christmas. So this would be a really fun thing to give to somebody. So to start off, I've just got some coloured paper and normal white paper. You don't need to have paper, you can use Christmas paper, you can use cards, you can use whatever you have in the house. So this craft does not need an awful lot of things. So we're going to start by folding our card. So I'm going to use yellow. I'm just going to fold it in half. So there's our card, and then we're going to use the white paper to make an angel. So I'm going to cut that in half. Next I need to make a triangle shape. And then at this point you can just play about and see what size you actually want your angel to be. So for me that's a little bit too big, so you need to have space at the top for the head. Now I like to just cut it out roughly and then keep cutting until I get the size I want, but you can use a pencil if you want to actually draw your shape first and then cut it out. So next we want to make our angel look a wee bit more realistic. So what you're going to do is you're going to take one side, the left or the right side, and fold it in. And then you're going to flip around and do the same on the other side until you get to the very end. And then just flatten it out and it gives you that bit more of a realistic angel shape. So then you just want to go and stick it down. And then you're going to have some scrap pieces of white paper left. So you're going to take a little bit off it and either draw your shape for your head, or you can just cut it out straight away. So I've just drew mine roughly so that I know the size compared to the body. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. And then for the halo, I just have a bit of rope. You can use tinsel, you can use whatever you have, or you can just use coloured paper. So I'm just going to make sure I have the right size and then cut it out and stick it down. then for our wings, you are going to use your handprint. So I've got, as you can see, very big hands compared to my angel. Now some of you little ones who have tiny little hands, this will fit in really well. If you've got bigger hands, all you need to do is make a bigger card, or you can just draw the wings yourself, up to you. So you get the right idea there. So then you would either hand paint your hand and then press it down, or you can just trace around your hand. And then that's it. That's your card ready. You can paint the face, you can colour in the face and draw the little hands and the lips and the mouth and things like that. And then inside your card, all you need to do is write to and from, and write your little message and then send it away to somebody that you can think of. So I hope that you can make better ones than I have, and remember to send us in your amazing creations. Have a good week. Bye!